everyone. I'm Meaghan Barakett, and I'm here with my friend Naomi Wolf, and we're going to have a discussion today. Naomi, can you tell us a little bit about what we'll be talking about?
Absolutely, Meaghan. It's exciting to be here with you, and it's really exciting to share this news with all of you. It's huge, and as a woman and a survivor, I'm really thrilled about it, even though it's a very serious subject. The issue is AB 322. And we're here as commentators for DailyClout. DailyClout is our company, our website that shares with you what bills are in real life language that everyone can understand. And AB 322 is a game changer. I'm so happy to share it. It's a bill that has passed the Assembly in California. And it's going to make a lot of changes around how rape kits are processed. And it's one of the first bills I've ever seen to actually have teeth about this important issue. Meaghan, do you want to talk about why that's such a big deal?
Well, I actually have a few questions.
Sure.
I hope that you can help, maybe.
Let's do it.
So they're talking a lot about this backlog of rape kits, right? So I guess my first question that came up was, why are there so many kits that are backlogged? Like, how did this become an issue?
That is a fantastic question. And people, some people are familiar with the subject, especially if they're involved in having, God forbid, reported a rape.
Sure.
And other people aren't that familiar, but would really want to know about it because, unfortunately, rape is so common. The Me Too movement is showing that one woman in four, at least has experienced sexual assault in her lifetime. Shocking numbers. And the numbers are even higher on college campuses. Over the lifetime or during the college years, those numbers vary, but they're terribly high. I don't know a woman who hasn't experienced sexual assault. It's like so common. So the horrible thing about the rape kit backlog issue is that all over the country, in state after state after state, survivors have done what the ideal victim is supposed to do. They have gone to the police. They called the police in that traumatic aftermath of a sexual assault. They have had, subjected themselves to these invasive, what they have to do to create a rape kit is, I'm just going to be graphic, they have to do a pelvic swab. They have to, the police collect semen. If there is any hair, they're looking for DNA and evidence of the crime. So these are very, intrusive, difficult things to do.
Yeah.
And then the backlog is, after these victims have gone through all of that, Meaghan, the rape kits sit there on the shelves of these jurisdictions, of these police departments, sometimes for over a decade. And there are thousands and thousands and thousands of them that have not been looked at.
What should they be doing with them? So in an ideal situation, a woman goes through that, which I can imagine just must be so difficult to bring yourself to. You've just experienced this traumatic experience, and then to do, so to speak, the right thing, or to, like you said, the ideal victim. That in itself, I can imagine that I would be able to have the right mindset to do that. So that's an incredible thing, I think, just to get there. And then to have them just sit there.
Exactly.
But ideally, what would they do with these kids?
So that's a great question because, who knows the answers? They're not commonly known. So in an ideal world, when the justice system is working the way it should, those kits would be processed in a timely way. So what does process means? It means that they'd be analyzed.
Yeah.
Now we have DNA sampling. So many rape survivors, and this is shocking, have given their rape kit after the assault that they suffered, and then 10 years later, they'll see their rapist in the news because he's, so many rapists are serial predators. Studies have found that, one guy will be responsible for multiple sexual assaults. And they're like, you never tested my kit. I could have saved this other woman or this child, or man, they're victims too from this, but my kit never got tested. So it's the DNA analysis. And the DNA analysis can often, if the guy has committed this crime before, it'll be a match. And then they'll see, wow, this is a serial predator. We need to investigate him. We need to arrest him.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So now, what's happened with this bill? So this has changed everything, or hopefully. So it's still in the process.
Yeah.
But what is it now? How can it change things now?
Yeah, again, a great question. So it's really shocking with these bills, Meaghan, and we're getting a sense of this week by week as we read the bills. Things that seem so straightforward so often aren't with legislation.
Right, exactly. I think that's why I had so many questions about this. Like, I don't understand. Why are they just sitting on the shelves?
And everyone who's watching, how can you possibly imagine that, thousands of rape kits that could incriminate rapists who are out there raping people are sitting on shelves? So that is a great question. So basically this bill, you would think, oh, well, let's just get them tested. Let's just make sure we'll pass a bill to get them tested. The incredible thing, Meaghan, about the California state legislature, this is a state bill, right? It's not a federal bill. But that's appropriate because police are, state by state, jurisdiction by jurisdiction. This assemblyman, Anthony Portantino, I've really got to give him a shout out. To his credit, he's not a woman. You don't have to be a woman to care about sexual assault. He's pushed a number of bills to deal with the rape kit backlog. California is bad with the backlog. In 2009, they found 12,000 rape kits that were untested. They just found them. They were just sitting there. They had not been processed. So even though he's pushed a number of bills, there's been like back and forth to really take the teeth out of this bill. This bill doesn't say you have to test the backlog. It just says there has to be transparency. All the jurisdictions have to report if they have kits that are not tested. But there's a little bit of like two teeth, right, in this bill, not like 32 teeth. If a jurisdiction shows that it's especially low in testing rape kits, then they have to test all of their rape kits and solve that problem. So there's a county called Monrovia County where fewer than 12% of rapes are solved in that county. And so like they're a naughty jurisdiction.
It's like accountability.
Exactly. But it's not like you'd think, like, wouldn't you think, Meaghan, if you're going to pass a bill, it should say like just test the rape kits, right? Not like you have to be especially egregious.
Yes, exactly, in order to test them.
Right. Yeah. And what do you think about that percentage? Like fewer than 12%.
Oh, that's and the whole thing is just kind of amazing to me. It's shocking that something that could prevent this horrible, it's not going to get rid of it, right? But if we knowingly have something that helps people, it's hard to kind of wrap my head around the fact that it's not being used to the extent that it could actually really help people.
It's truly shocking, isn't it? Yeah. I'm going to tell you something that will blow your mind even more. Okay, just like I'm glad you're sitting down. This is like we're laughing, but it's like so bad. Yeah. Believe it or not, there have been bills that were proposed in the California legislature before, rape kit bills, and the whole legislature was willing to pass those bills, but the previous governor, vetoed the bills, which is incredible. In other words, Republicans and Democrats, because it's not a partisan issue, right? Everyone has daughters, everyone has, wives. It's like rape is not partisan. The whole California legislature was like, let's have action on this. And the governor said no.
Why?
Well, that's a great question. I don't know the answer to that. I wish I did.
If you had to guess.
My guess is, these are such good questions. My guess is that when you have scrutiny of police departments, like this bill or the previous ones would mandate, police don't look good. Because so few of these cases are prosecuted or investigated. The other reason, and this is just conjecture, is that I think that, we've seen this over and over, rape is just not considered that big a priority. Women's well-being and their trauma.
Do you think because it's a women's issue?
I have to think if upper middle class white men were being assaulted regularly and there was evidence to get their assailant, I have to believe there would be more action. It's just such a shocking situation. And I guess the last thing, and we chatted about this a little bit, is I have to wonder if one reason there's so few teeth in these laws about having to test rape kits is that police might be afraid of what they'll discover because it is DNA, and powerful people rape people, as we've seen with the Me Too movement with Harvey Weinstein. So maybe there's pressure to like not know, you know, not have the tools to have to then take action on.
Because it doesn't end there, right? Then there would be a step that would need to then be taken once you find out, right? Once you get proof or something, then it's kind of obvious.
Absolutely. So. I mean, you're exactly right. What we've got right now is a situation, Meaghan, where rapists basically, and it's not just the United States, it's Britain as well, have impunity. They really do, because literally, I've looked at rape statistics all over Western Europe and North America. 6 to 12% ever get reported, and no one even keeps statistics on investigated, prosecuted, sentenced. You know, we don't know how many convictions there are of rapists in the United States. We don't know, because no one's keeping that data. And I think that, you know, police kind of like it that way, because no one's convicting rapists, and no one knows that no one's convicting rapists, because the data just aren't there.
Do you think it's a financial issue also? I mean, if there's not funds to put into keeping the information, like, can it just be that also, that, you know, there's a lot of things and things are expensive? And
I think that's a great point. I mean, I have to.
I mean, it doesn't excuse it, but I'm sure that there's lots of, you know, different things that need attention and need money and need funds.
Yes.
So,
well, you've totally identified another reason. I would maybe, I'm less nice than you are. I would put it differently. But I would say that, you know, if rape kits get tested, it's clear there's just a lot of crime that's not being investigated. And then, resources need to get directed at investigating and sentencing, you know, those crimes and sentencing those criminals. And you know, California's in a budget crisis, just like states are across the country. So that's definitely a factor. And on this note, because daily life goes on in the form of adorable small people, well, they were getting hearts and flowers. We're going to sign off now. This is so awesome. AB 322, we're going to post the actual bill with Bill Cam on our website, DailyClout. And Meaghan Barakett, thank you so much.
Thank you for the conversation.
It's so great, and it's you know, even though it's imperfect progress, it's great progress. And so keep up the pressure. Let your elected officials know, do you like this bill if you live in California? Let Assemblyman Anthony Portantino know. Give him a thumbs up if you like the rape backlog bill. And of course, we're nonpartisan. Give them a thumbs down if you don't think rape kits should be tested. But have your say. And that's us at DailyClout. Thank you so much.
Thank you.